Have your attention, please. I call the public hearing to order for ordinance 2306-1301, adopting and enacting a comprehensive codification and revision of the ordinances of the city of Kingston. If anyone would like to wish to comment on this public hearing, please come up and state your name and address. This public hearing will stay open for 15 minutes. Trust me, I'm coming back like on vacation, like the day after. You see where they passed that rezoning for that Dollar General? Unanimously. I can't believe Bell voted for it. He don't vote for nothing.
You know you're being recorded, right?
I just asked her.
Just saying. Just letting you know.
So you know. Thank you.
How's your stepmom? Great. Sure. My mom's gonna have surgery tomorrow, so I'll be out the rest of the week. So it's no, or neck. They're doing the C3 through 7 on this one, and then they go back when that heals and do the lower back.
I can't answer his question, but we had a legitimate 2,000. 2,000.
You wanna announce again since there's more people?
Is anyone here for the public hearing on the ordinance 230613? We'll keep the public hearing open for 8 more minutes. Stephanie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to bring you all my stuff, and if you like that, just look at all of it. We made feature furniture, you know, we made feature sleep in the bow, in the fall with the ballads. We make, Miami-Dade before we were.
So the guy said, no, it's different.
Yeah. Oh.
Sharon.
He should have seen it.
Well, no, I just told him to be here in case y'all have questions since it's first reading and nobody talked. We didn't have a workshop.
I don't expect it. Well,
They showed some real clips.
Yeah, it's just one there.
Button's got little voting sheets. They take all that. Butterfly that. I got all kinds of stuff. Just one I thought, I don't think the owner is.
turn the ringer off.
That may be an easy sell or something.
There's your house, David. Can live next to the
Ours is 250.
But
250.
but it would not do, no, because the church
They
property.
tried to change it to 300 on the
But-
thing, but in our old one.
It's not right in the new book.
Stephanie. But the church property is right next door. The church property is with 250 feet.
Oh, so that wouldn't work. So it doesn't matter.
So what?
The Grove is within 250 feet.
Because remember, it's not door to door.
It's not door to door.
It's not door to door property.
We can't regulate it, we can't.
Our ordinance doesn't specify. It just says 250 feet.
Right,
And
whether it's city or
it's not
county.
front door to front door, it's property line
I mean, it's right across the road from us.
No, it stops, our city limits stop at school eight.
I always thought it was right past the school. Leaving.
No, stop, the school, I think it's the property.
Son, Rick is a preacher down there.
At that church.
At that little church.
Daryl. His name's Daryl.
Brother, he got a hat on tonight.
He got one.
Thank you for the t-shirt.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome.
She keeps it hard now. She needs a cow, she needs a home.
I'm trying to get your name up tonight.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with it. I don't know why.
I really mellowed out. I don't even pay attention to stuff anymore.
Well,
Randy. Can you do the pledge tonight? You do the pledge tonight.
So we changed from 250 to 250.
no, it's, that one was right. Really the only one. Well, no, that one was 300.
So when we get through, this is the old one,
No, this is the new
Oh,
one.
okay.
This is the new one.
so that's gonna read 300 and this is gonna read
No, this is 250. These are the corrected ones.
Okay, so our
And
old
your
ones.
all's were-
Okay, all right.
Your all's were
What we passed last time.
said 300.
Okay.
And then I went through and reviewed it again and found that, and I went back to our existing code.
Okay, but still, I've got it written down, that we're going from 300 to 250.
Back to 250, yes,
Back.
which is the correct. The 250 is what we are existing, I'll put it that way.
Is there anyone wishing to address the council on the public hearing for ordinance 2306-1301 and adopting and enacting comprehensive codification revision of the ordinances of the city of Kingston? Someone wish to speak on that? Seeing none, public hearing is adjourned. Now I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Kingston City Council. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand. Mr. Brown, if you'd lead us in the invocation, Mr. Childs, you'll lead us in the pledge of the flag.
Pray with me, please. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for a beautiful day that we've had today. We thank you for the opportunity to come here together as a group. We would ask that you be with the Carter family in their time of need, wrap your arms around them in this grief time, and be with them. We ask that you touch each one of us, that we may do the right things for the city of Kingston, and as always, we give you praise for what you do for us. But most of all, we thank you for your son who died on the cross for our sins. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Bradwell. Here. Council, I already done it, Tony. Vice Mayor Brown.
Present.
Councilmember Childs. Councilmember Gwynn.
Present.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Present.
Mayor Neal.
Present. To hear a motion to approve the previous minutes from last month's meeting. A motion by Mr. Bradwell, second by Mr. Gwynn. Any corrections or deletions to the minutes? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll on approval of the minutes.
Councilmember Bradwell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Now is the time we set aside for citizens wishing to appear before the council. Is anyone wishing to appear before the council tonight? If so, you've got 3 minutes. Come up, say your name and where you live. Miss Hamilton.
Nancy Hamilton, 2623 Longville Road. I'm coming to you as a school board member just to give you an update of some things that's happening in our schools. School starts on August the 3rd, so just let you know about that. Some things that's been happening this summer while school's been out. Last 2 weeks ago, our County Commission approved our budget, where we've been able to give our teachers and faculty and staff about a 7% increase in pay, which is a good thing. If they're certified teachers, they actually get an additional $1,000 on their salary scale. You may have heard about that. With the governor's legislation of trying to be at $50,000 by 2026, we're about halfway there. So the starting salary for a new teacher in Roane County starting this year is $46,000, which is great. So also at some of our schools, we've had some administration changes. You may have heard that at Kingston Elementary, we have a new part-time, half-time principal, Stephanie Collins. She's also a half-time interventionist. She's been doing that job all last year. At Cherokee Middle, we have all new administration. We have a new principal who is Jill Coram, and then our assistant principal is Billy Golston. They have both been system employees. Billy Golston was in Oak Ridge, has come back, and last year actually was teacher of the year in Oak Ridge City Schools. So we're really happy to have her. You also may have heard about potential overcrowding at Kingston Elementary. Our district has done a pretty good job, I believe, this summer trying to kind of crack down on that at Kingston Elementary. We hope that our numbers are still kind of rolling in. We think that we will probably have about a 12% decrease in population at Kingston Elementary, which equals about 75 to 86 students less than what we've had. That number still has time to play out, but that's what we're thinking. So that's going to help our school at Kingston Elementary. And so I just wanted to give you a little change on that. Next Thursday, our school board will meet in Gatlinburg for our Summer Law Institute, where we're going to have a board retreat to kind of talk about what plans, if any, about what we're going to do about our issues with our conditions of our schools. So I'm sure I'll be here to give you a report on that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, I've got a question
Go
too.
ahead.
Go ahead. No, when you get there, I've got one.
Is the decrease due to out of district?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you've heard, but my daughter received an email yesterday that there is a pilot program for teachers within the state of Tennessee starting this semester, and she's going to be part of that program, and they are going to pay the tuition as long as you stay in the teaching program and you teach within the state for 4 years. So that's really exciting for the shortage.
Tennessee Tech has been kind of an integral leader on that, where they've started this program called Grow Your Own. So we have, I think last I heard was about 27 ed assistants who serve in our district who are going to start the education program to be working with Tennessee Tech to get their degree.
Yeah, and the program that she was informed about, it was something that was passed by the legislature in April, and they gave about $900,000 of funding out of the lottery. So I just thought that was excellent, that basically if you want to go to school to be a teacher within the state of Tennessee, you're pretty much going to be tuition free for the next 5 years. So.
Well, way to go, Maggie.
Yeah.
We want to hire her when she's finished.
Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I don't get a lot of complaints, but this isn't a complaint. This is just an inquiry from 2 calls, and they were generated because of what the county commission did the other night with the new addition that's going to be next to you. Is there any way that the school board or the principal or the staff out there could look to see if there's any way to alleviate part of the problems? The concern wasn't about the new buildings going in. The concern was backing up into Lonville Road and people can't get across, and now they've been using that road and they're afraid it's going to get even worse. And I know that I guess it starts when they let the kindergarten kids out.
Yes. Are you talking about the proposed Dollar General?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what generated the calls. Where are we going to go now?
Yes.
We can't get across it's not Lonville Road, to Lonville. No, the one in the city. Bailey, because everybody backs up. So the people who don't want to get stuck in that traffic take Lad right. Now they're afraid if they take, they're going to have the same problem there. But if there was some way that they could make those cars, switch back and forth inside your parking lot so they're not backing up on the street. And I'm sure the chief has had all kind of calls about going out there. And, what do you do with them? They're sitting there waiting to pick up their kids. There's nowhere to go.
Well, it is a problem when they start getting there at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. And sitting there.
Yes,
when the parking lot fills up.
So that's right. Okay.
Well, thank you.
And I'll let you know. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council tonight? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go into reports. I'll go into mayor and council. Ms. Johnson, do you have anything to report?
Yes, I'm going to report. information from the library this evening. They've been doing a children's summer program this summer that has been a huge success. It's on.
Again, speak into it, please.
Sorry. The library cards were issued to 46 new patrons during the week of the first week of June. That was just the first week of June. They've been providing several new programs this year. They've all been great success. Total number of new library patrons for the month rose from 24 in January to 54 in May to 109 in June. Due to continuous growth, the library board voted unanimously to create a new expansion fund and designate the donation fund money for this purpose. The board is considering future needs and exploring options to accommodate the growing and changing needs for our community. And while this rapid growth is exciting, it also presents challenges with staffing and funding. The library is still staffed by only one full-time employee other than the head librarian and several part-time employees. In addition, new programs and materials require increasing costs that will need to be considered in the future planning. So they wanted me to bring this to the council, to bring it to your attention, and I would say there will probably be further future discussions with David and Michelle and Barbara, the librarian.
Right.
Yes, that's all.
Well, thank you very much. Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
I just wanted to extend the thanks again to all the city employees for another successful 4th of July. I know it's a big undertaking to have an influx of that many people, and they always pass that test with flying colors. So I just wanted to send that thank you to them. I also wanted to mention our last planning commission meeting. Matt Caldwell presented us with a concept preliminary plan of a possible new development past Liberty Baptist up on the side of the hill over there. It's a large tract of land. It's a little bit difficult. He may be asking for some variances to get it accomplished because the homes are going to be on a more affordable side of the spectrum, and in order to accommodate that, we may have to make some adjustments. But I just wanted everybody to be informed on that, and that's all I have.
Mr. Brown?
Same thing on the 4th of July. I thought it was one of the best ones that we've had. I stayed with the police part of the day down there, and other than the boating accident that was away from the place, it all went smooth. And guys, they did a good job there. They had to go through that traffic on the backside to get to the windswept where the jet skis accident was at. But again, great job. I sent a thing out and put it on Facebook, so appreciate y'all for all that you do. On the good side, just to let y'all know that the Kingston baseball program is up and going great. In Kingston, our 7 and 8 year olds competed in the state tournament. Our 11 and 12 year olds are going to Springfield leaving tomorrow. And our 14 and under, sponsored by the Optimus Club, are in Virginia playing in a World Series. They won their state tournament, so maybe we can have all those down when they get through with baseball. On a sad note, I know that we've got on the agenda tonight the approval of the 911. I need to sadly report to you that the longest serving employee that we've had, Miss Stacy Carter, she's been there since we established the 911 system 29 years ago. She retired last month and passed away day before yesterday. She's at Evans in Rockwood, and there'll be a tribute by I'm assuming the law enforcement and the 911 people also, but it'll be at Evans. So just keep that family in your prayers. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Gwynn?
Just did a great job before. The employees did an outstanding job.
Mr. Childs?
Same as Ray said, echo about the 4th. I mean, several people worked. Come in talking about it. Really good job. REU, we had a lot of storms and everything over the last few weeks. Luckily, wasn't a big delays on getting utilities back on, and copy of the report and the manager's report.
Mr. Bradley, do you have anything?
Yeah, just like to say, they did a great job during the 4th and everything. Really did good. car show we had around the old courthouse turned out real nice. I think we had 105 cars. It looked really good around the old courthouse.
Yeah.
It was really nice to sit under the trees and in the grass instead of the parking lot. That made it a lot nicer. And like Tony was saying, the 14U's going to the World Series. I think they're leaving Thursday, right, Tony?
I think so.
Yeah, my son's one of the coaches, so and they're going to probably, hopefully, stay 5 or 6 days. Hopefully, they'll do real good and not get knocked out right away.
Yeah.
But that's it.
The only thing I have, like you guys said about the 4th of July, I got a chance to sit in on I guess, kind of lessons learned meeting that was taking place Monday about the 4th, and a lot of good ideas were kicked around about how to improve it to make it better for next year. So I will see some stuff coming out of that. That's all I have to report. I turned it over to Mr. Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for your kind words about the 4th. I know the employees appreciate that, and they appreciate your support. Absolutely. I do think that we set the bar this year. I think we had what I think is the best event that we've had yet, but we're not going to settle with that. We're constantly striving to make it better. As the mayor said, we've already started brainstorming about ideas for next year. So it's a relief to have it done, but it won't be long till we start working on the next one. So we'll get to work on that. Get a lot of questions about the interstate lighting and the status of that. It's not off our radar. We're still in communication with REU. Hopefully next week we'll have a meeting. Plan on having a meeting to get together and start hopefully mapping that out, and we'll have more to report hopefully next month. On our 3 or 4 big projects that we have going on, the ARC for Ladd Park, the build grant, the STP for Ladd Landing, all still in holding patterns. I know that that's kind of been the status for a while, but a lot of work going on behind the scenes, but waiting to get to the point that we get some progress on those. So hopefully all those will start moving soon, particularly the build grant. That should, the build and the STP, we should both have notice to proceed on both of those, we hope, within the next couple of weeks. I think I sent out an email about the capital improvement grant that we've applied for Fort Southwest Point. That's a 100% grant, and we had a meeting earlier this week and have decided to pursue funding to finish the Palisade Wall. That's something that we've needed to do for a long time, and we feel fits this grant. There's a short window of time that you have to have this work done, which kind of makes it prohibitive for some of the other things that we could use it for, but we think that's going to be a great project, and we're looking forward to getting that started. Just a notice, since this will happen before we meet again, our parking lot is scheduled to be resurfaced and restriped August 5th and 6th. That's a Saturday and a Sunday, so it'll be closed off at that time. We'll make the necessary arrangements and get notice out to that, but that was the most convenient available date they had, so we got that locked in. Looking forward to getting that work done, and also the fire hall renovations that you funded are almost complete. They've done a great job working on that, and they'll be having an open house. I'm not sure yet when, but we'll have you all down to celebrate that when it's finished. The only thing I wanted to mention I wanted to brag on the police department for just a minute. As you've probably seen in your budget, we've had quite an increase in citation revenue over the last couple of years. You know, we reached a point where we were hearing a lot that speeding was a problem in Kingston, and we've made a concerted effort to address that. They have, as you say, you can see the dollars and cents, and that's great. That means that they are slowing people down. But I think more importantly, a statistic that kind of gets buried is our crashes. And our crashes this year are 20% down from where they were last year. And last year they were 67% down from the year before that. So that's a pretty impressive number. We're not resting on that, but clearly their work is paying off. The department is committed. You probably see them out running radar, but we're committed to slowing drivers down, and it's making a big difference. So I really want to commend them for their efforts on that. And unless you have any questions, that's all I have.
Are there any questions for the city manager? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go into number 7. Addition of items to the to the meeting agenda received after close of the agenda deadline. I did not receive any. We go into unfinished business. Item A is consideration of the second and final reading of ordinance 2306-1301, an ordinance adopting and enacting a comprehensive codification and revision of the ordinances of the city of Kingston, Tennessee. Do I hear a motion for this second and final reading?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Mr. Gwynn. Ms. Wright?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Gwynn? Any discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Brown?
I'd like to make a motion to amend, Title 8. You'll see it on page 8 and 10. Kelly has caught a mistake, that we need to change, that the one that we voted on the first reading, it sets the distance at 300 foot from a building for which the minimum distance for issuance of a beer permit, and it should be 250, and that occurs in at least 2 places, and I would move that we amend that and change it to the 250 instead of 300 wherever that may occur.
I have a motion to amend. Is there a second on the motion to amend?
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll on the motion to amend the original motion?
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Now, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll on the second and final reading to the ordinance that has been amended?
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
New business item A, consideration of first reading of ordinance 2307-1101, an ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of Kingston, Tennessee by rezoning property from R2 Residential District to C2 Highway District, Rome County Tax Map 58K, Group G, Partial 13. Here's a motion for this first reading.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. Ms. Wright, would you like to comment being the chairman of the Planning Commission?
The only comments I'll make is since spot zoning has become such a hot button word in the past 24 hours, that's what I initially thought that this could be. But there is a C2 district right across the street. There are other commercial businesses around it. So as far as Planning Commission goes, they passed this unanimously and there's no issue. And that's all I have.
Ms. Johnson, do you have anything? Council?
Is that the big piece of property underneath behind Bunt Rocks and?
That
Yes.
looks almost unusable, yes.
Yeah. that's
Has the
kind of
power lines.
Power lines across it, okay.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll on the first reading.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item B is consideration of resolution 2307-1101, a resolution authorizing application for the U.S. Fish and Wild Service Boating Infrastructure Grant and committing the required matching funds. Mr. Balling, would you like to touch on this first?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we have, as you know, we've discussed this a little bit. We are in a rather unique situation with this grant that if we apply for it, we're approved. So we have guaranteed funding if we pursue it. There is a match, obviously, which is why we've put this before you for consideration. If we pursue the full funding of $300,000, we'd have a $100,000 required match. Obviously, that would go down if we spent less than that. As we've discussed, a lot of details to be worked out, but we're applying to pursue transient boat slips. We think that would be a great addition to our waterfront. Obviously, a lot of details to be worked out as to where those can go, things of that nature. But the good news is, if we do pursue this, we're guaranteed the funding. So that doesn't happen too often. So a potentially exciting project, and I'm happy to yield to Councilmember Wright, who's spearheaded this. So.
Well, I can make the motion.
First of all, I'd like to ask a motion to consider this resolution. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Childs. Okay, Ms. Wright.
I would just like to say, I know $100,000 is a significant amount of money, but what we could get from this project, I think, is also significant. It's not often, as the city manager said, that we get a guaranteed funding opportunity. I know, like you said, there's a lot of details to work out, but I'm thoroughly excited about this project.
Mr. Childs, anything? Council? Madam Clerk, call the roll on that resolution.
Councilmember Bradwell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item C is consideration to approve the dispatch agreement with Roane County Emergency Communications District for FY 2023-2024 in the amount of $89,442. Do you hear a motion to approve this agreement?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Gwynn. Do I hear a second? Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Gwynn, do you have anything?
No.
Mr. Brown?
This was a negotiated deal. They came up, we've included this number in the budget. This was sent to us, 2 months ago, because we urged them, because of the city of Kingston needing to have theirs first. We made them pass their budget, so we knew this was coming, and this is just something that authorizes, like we do every year. There was a 5% increase in this, but it's included in this year's budget, and we'll make a monthly payment of $74.53 a month. We can't do it for that.
No. Not even close. Council, any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll on approval of that dispatch agreement.
Councilmember Bradwell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item D is consideration to appoint Sue Collins to the Park and Recreation Commission to a 4-year term expiring June 30th, 2027. Do we hear a motion to appoint Ms. Collins?
Move to appoint her.
Mr. Brown, is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Bradwell. Mr. Brown, any comments?
Can we include, since I don't know if the Parks and Rec wants to continue her to serve on the beautification, but whoever, the beautification committee has to have a member, and if it's her, I'm assuming that her term would run
Concurrent.
concurrent with this term, and maybe that's something that Mr. Bedwell needs to take back to the Park and Rec and see if anybody else is, if they want somebody else to serve, but that's all.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call the roll to appoint Ms. Collins.
Councilmember Bradwell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Last item on the agenda is to consider to approve request for city surplus. Looks like we've got 4 items that needs to be put on the surplus list. To hear a motion to approve these requests for surplus.
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Childs. There's a second. Second by Mr. Gwynn. Anything, Mr. Childs?
Don't need it, rid of it.
Mr. Gwynn? Council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll on the surplus items.
Councilmember Bradwell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gwynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
That's the end of the agenda, so the meeting, City Council is adjourned. Now we're going to open up the regular meeting of the Kingston Beer Board. Madam Clerk, will you call roll, please?
Member Bradwell.
Here.
Vice Chair Brown.
Present.
Member Childs.
Present.
Member Gwynn.
Present.
Member Johnson.
Present.
Member Wright.
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. Do you hear a motion to approve the previous minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Johnson. I don't see any corrections or deletions of the minutes because we did not have any business last month. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll for the previous minutes?
Member Bradwell.
Yes.
Vice Chair Brown.
Yes.
Member Childs.
Yes.
Member Gwynn.
Yes.
Member Johnson.
Yes.
Member Wright.
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
No business come for the meeting, not the beer board is adjourned. Now we'll call the regular scheduled meeting of the Kingston Water Board to order. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll for the water board?
Member Bradwell.
Here.
Vice Chair Brown.
Present.
Member Childs.
Present.
Member Gwynn.
Present.
Member Johnson.
Present.
Member Wright.
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. To hear a motion to approve the previous minutes is written.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Mr. Bradwell, second. Any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
No, sir.
Madam Clerk, call the roll on the minutes.
Member Bradwell.
Yes.
Vice Chair Brown.
Yes.
Member Childs.
Yes.
Member Gwynn.
Yes.
Member Johnson.
Yes.
Member Wright.
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Now set a time for citizens to address the water board. Is there anyone wanting to address the water board tonight? Seeing none, we'll go into the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much other than my written report. I'll yield to Utility Director in just a second, but I did want to mention on a previous action item of this board, I guess last month or the month before, you moved to pursue action against a customer who left us with a very high bill. The city attorney has filed that. We have a court date set for.
That's set for the 1st of August.
So we have a court date set on that, and hopefully we'll come away with a judgment in that case. So just wanted to give you an update on that, and I'll yield to the utility director if he has any updates for you.
Thank you, David. So we've everything's sort of been good going. Met with some potential developers about possibly growing or developing some in our district or our area, which would be a very beneficial thing for our both water and sewer. The only other thing that I have is we're getting ready to start the Warren Lane O'Berry project for sewer. Hopefully next week we'll be moving forward on that and getting that property at the end of Warren Lane, the sewer that they had requested from us. Other than that, that's all I've got. And oh yeah, and Friday we have customer appreciation. I'd like to thank Michelle especially and everybody else that was involved in this, helping us get this put together. And if y'all ain't got anything to do, we'd love to have you.
The only thing I have, Mr. Hamilton, is so the project that Mr. Caldwell's brought to us off of Lawnville. Have
Yes.
you looked at the elevation for water? Are we good there? Or
Water's good. As a matter of fact, he called me before the meeting. He has now found another way. He's wanting to split that sewer up and take some one way and take some the other way. He actually had a surveyor out there getting those elevation points. So we're still in negotiation on that, but I think it's going to work.
are you talking about the ones out here in Ladd?
Yeah, and I've also had the conversation with him on that over there, and that's a go. That won't be a problem.
Okay, I wasn't sure about how. I wouldn't think it's any higher than the water tank that we've got.
Well,
Like I said, the terrain is challenging over there.
Yeah.
from the conversation that I had with him, he just wanted to make sure that everything was available and that it would go from there. But it's like I explained to him, there would be no problems on our side either way. We've got 2 water lines there that's going to be plenty to feed him, and then we got sewer that we can stub into the property, so it's good to go.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Any questions for the utility director? Okay.
Thank you.
Seeing none, we'll go into new business. Item 1 is consideration to amend the water purchase contract with the Wattsbar Utility District. Mr. Bowling, would you like to address this before we get started?
Yeah, the very simple matter, as I mentioned in your packets, the contract that we have currently in place with Wattsbar specifies a certain connection point. As they're looking to get permitted to get water in other areas, they will need an additional connection point to service those areas, and through part of their applications, they need to be able to provide documentation that that'll be available. So Kevin and I worked with the city attorney to make some minor amendments to that agreement to remove the connection point on Ladridge Road. It no longer specifies that. We did not alter the term of the contract, which is still set to expire in 2030. So.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for this amendment to the water purchase contract?
I'll make the motion.
Second. And second, Mr. Childs. Mr. Wright, do you have anything?
Nothing other than, do you know if this new area, if it's just water application or is there sewer as well?
Future sewer,
Okay, thank you.
but this is just water currently.
Okay.
Then do we need to have the city attorney fix one for sewer also? Or, you know, they're gonna ask for it. And then 2, out at, Paint Rock, we've already told him we're gonna hook sewer up out there, but we have an agreement with that too. We had one with it, cause.
We have an agreement.
We had one with that.
We set a charge on it. didn't we?
Yeah, now I don't think, don't quote me on this, but I don't think that's got a point of service in that
Doesn't.
contract.
It's open-ended.
So it might be that we could use that one, but I think as this other develops and it comes to that point, it could be a while before that comes, but we could always take it back to the attorney and make sure it matches what we need.
All right, I might give Mr. Thompson, give him a little heads up.
Yeah, I think we had this discussion when we had made the sewer agreement, that it was open-ended, and when they needed it, they would be specific and come to us and ask, so.
Did he say where the point is for this new subdivision?
No, I don't think
it's
there's.
been planned out yet. I know, Kevin, probably somewhere in proximity to the water plant.
Yeah, so,
It's not a big thing, is it? I mean, it's just the connection.
yeah, it's just a connection. It'd
I
be
didn't
just,
know if they needed to know if it's on the left side or the right side before we go,
He-
and whether we need
he's
to
in
go
the,
through
yeah,
right-of-ways or-
well, he's in the permitting stages right now, and I don't think that's came down. I do know that he has applied for a easement, I think, which has been granted to him. And the last conversation I had with him about this, he had asked for 100-foot easement for water and sewer was what he was asking for. And like David said, it's just proximity of the water plant. Nothing's been confirmed as exact
Because the
yet.
sewer doesn't go to it doesn't go to the water plant, does
It
it?
doesn't.
No,
It takes a turn at James Ferry and goes that way down.
well, somewhere close proximity of somewhere right past the visitors, or no, I guess it'd be the home dugout for the girls softball. Somewhere right there it turns and goes underneath 58 and goes back across James Ferry.
The sewer does?
Yes, sir.
Because that's the main sewer line from the pump station over there. Okay.
Yeah,
All right, thanks, sir.
from one.
And we have already, the permitting process started long ago. It's already come in front of this board, regarding the TVA section on the one side, and we received notice that TVA was in this process, so we've already passed that portion of it, for them to be clear.
Mr. Childs, you have anything? Any other members? I'll call the roll on this, please.
Member Bradwell,
Yes.
Vice Chair Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Gwynn,
Yes.
Member Johnson,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye. Item 2 is consideration to authorize the city manager to write off the following utility accounts. There's several utility accounts there. I won't read all of them. To hear a motion to put this on the floor for discussion. Motion by Mr. Gwynn. Is there a second?
My second.
Second by Mr. Bradwell. Mr. Gwynn, do you have anything? Mr. Bowling.
So, as you can see, the bulk of these have exceeded the 6-year limitation that they're collectible. And then we have 2 where customers have passed away with no estate. So they're all uncollectible. The majority of them now legally so. So we have no choice but to write off all but 2 of them, and the other 2 we know there's no point in pursuing.
That satisfy you, Mr. Gwynn? Yes. Mr. Bradwell, do you have anything? Members, any questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll to authorize the write-off of the following accounts.
Member Bradwell,
Yes.
Vice Chair Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Gwynn,
Yes.
Member Johnson,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye. Is there anything else to come before the water board tonight?
Just 2 comments, Mr. Mayor, if you've
Mr.
got
Brown.
time to do those. Just forgot to
Oh,
bring
yeah.
it up. We need to, for those of you who keep up with this stuff, the new laws that went into effect in July is going to change the way some of our committees operate. And the city manager's on top of it and going to him and Kelly are going to make sure that they do. We now have to give everybody time to speak. We have to have a written agenda. If it's not on the agenda, they can't bring it up the way I understand it, because you got to publicize it so they can comment on it. The other thing is that this is July the 11th. December is right around the corner.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Anything else? This meeting is adjourned.